Hey guys, Brad McCraw, CEO, Executive Producer of Mosaic Pro Events here in the Mosaic Podcast Studio. We're here today with our sales and marketing team. We're going to talk about just overall business strategy, the price of excellence. We put a high standard on excellence. So I invited them in here with me, and we're just going to kind of dive into it and talk about what we do and what we see as excellence in the event industry and how we try to accomplish that. So I'm going to dive into some questions that I've got behind the camera to get us started. So first one, what does it actually mean to be high end in this industry? We talk about being high end. I say it all the time. We want to be, somebody just asked me recently, it might've been Jeff, podcast producer. He was asking me some questions about this industry, how I see us in this industry. And I always say we want to be the Gucci of the industry, not the Old Navy of the industry. So to me, that means we want to be the high end. We want to be, I'm fine if a client can't afford us, not to be pompous about that, but I just want to make sure that we have what we do at a high excellence, high expectation, high quality. Sometimes you can't afford that. Sometimes you can, but I want it to be like Gucci. It's something you aspire to have. And then once you get it, you see why. It's because of the quality that they produce. So that's why I say we're the Gucci and not the Old Navy, because you can go to Old Navy and buy a bumper pair of jeans that'll get destroyed in 3 weeks when you wear it to the farm. Or you can buy a nice Goosey purse that will last you for generations upon end. So you aspire to have that quality because you see the value of it once you attain it. So what's your guys' thoughts?
On like what it means to like be a high end?
Yeah. What's it mean in this industry? What does it mean to be high end? If I say that, or if you hear that about us, from a client's perspective, which we're trying to educate clients, other people that do what we do from a client's perspective, what does that mean to pitch it? Like, hey, we're a high-end event producer. Like, what does that mean to us?
Yeah, I mean, I think the value that we're trying to convey is that like what you see is exactly what you get.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the same thing, like a prime example of this is like, think of like luxury and high quality brands like Ferrari or Lamborghini, right? You look at that car, right? Let's say like a Lamborghini, right? And the first thing that pops into your mind is not, oh, I bet that thing gets really good gas mileage.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The first thing that pops into your mind by just seeing that vehicle is that is a high performance vehicle.
Yep.
So I think we kind of want to present ourselves in the same way where like people can see, most of the people, because we don't really advertise, like people come to us because they've seen our work. So if you see our work and you see that high quality, right? Exactly. That high end product, you should be able to, look at our brand, see our product and know that is exactly what you get.
Yeah.
Like when you look at like our product, you're not wondering, like, oh, I wonder if like, the sound sounds good, right? You look at the product and of course the sound sounds good. It looks amazing.
Yep.
So it's like, I think that's what we're trying to do is like in the same way that, Lamborghini, like what you see is exactly what you get. Same thing with us. And that's what differentiates us, I feel like, a lot from a production company, because a production company can like show and be like, oh, look at this cool thing we did, right? But then like if they're not like actually a high-end company, what you see is not always what you get.
Yeah, which is great.
We're doing great.
My turn.
Yeah. I mean, we can move on to whatever. Like we can talk about anything.
I cut you off too much, and you wanted to talk more, so I looked at you to talk, and you just looked right back at me.
I think, I don't know what I have to say about this. I think it's obvious for clients and speakers and other production companies when they come to one of our shows, see us in action, see us backstage, see how we run something, how we run a show. It's very obvious we're high end. Yep. We're very approachable. We're very professional. We look great. We communicate great. We're not afraid to put any of our contractors in front of a client or to be like, we have that high-end feel just being in the room.
What's great about that, I think I always try to encourage other production company owners that I talk to, like all that stuff doesn't cost anything.
Right.
Everything you just mentioned, like even though we see it as high end, it doesn't cost the client or the production company a cent. Like it's just being intentional. More than anything, half of what creates the high end feel and vibe is intentionality.
Yep.
Like being intentionality with the backstage moments, being intentionality with your design. Like I think intentionality is huge in this industry. So I think an encouraging word for clients who want to pursue high end, or production companies or producers that want to pursue high end. It doesn't always mean it's a dollar amount that you have to afford,
Right.
as opposed to it's just intentionality. To be more intentional with what you do, how you do it, and then keep that consistent over. It doesn't matter if it's a small show. I mean, we try to do that. If it's I say it all the time, if it's $100,000 show or $1 million show, you get the same value, you get the same high end experience, because it's intentionality and it's consistency from start to finish.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of that too is just like what makes like something high end oftentimes is unspoken and something that you don't necessarily see.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, not to like liken back everything to luxury vehicles, but like if you look at like a Lamborghini, right? The attention to detail like in that product is absolutely obscene.
That intentionality.
Like, there's literally like, there could be like a Bull branded like press on like the hubcap like lock that like only the mechanic will ever see.
Yeah.
But it's there.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. So like in terms of like luxury products, high-end products, even brands, like how we position ourselves, what you're paying for is, one, you're getting exactly what you see, but then you're also getting a bunch of things that you're never going to see.
Yep.
Right.
And I think that actually transitions us to our second question there. It says,
second question.
Yeah, what are clients paying for that they don't see on a proposal? And I think a lot of it is just like the confidence, like the established like nature of us.
Yeah. The consistency.
Also just the fact that like when you hire like something that's high end, like there's an expectation that it's going to be a certain way. And like there's kind of like an unspoken kind of like agreement that it's going to be executed at a certain time.
And it doesn't end when we load in or even after show day.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure I drive Jennie more crazy than anybody, but I'm always, because I sit in front of house, I'm always looking around the room, and we're constantly critiquing everything from the stage carpet to the drape, if there's a pole showing on the drape. And that doesn't just happen on day one when everybody's on high energy and they're walking in the room. It happens on day 6 when we're all tired and the last thing we want to do is walk around and fix the drape because you can't see poles. But those are the things that the client won't see on a proposal. They won't even know probably exist throughout the whole process of the show.
Right.
Yep. They just kind of experience your best from start to finish. So yeah, I think that's a huge one that client doesn't see on a proposal. We're super intentional. Again, we're in a little bit of a different realm than most production companies where we don't own gear, and I don't have to worry too much about profit. We have a pretty good profit margin built in, and it allows us to add stuff that the client doesn't pay for in the proposal. A backstage, if we want to add flair to the backstage, we've started doing rugs for our clients with their logo on it. That's not something I'm going to put on a proposal, just because it's a dollar amount, but it's also, for me, it's part of doing business. It's part of quality. It's part of excellence.
Servicing our clients.
Our clients. So again, even though if it might cost you $200 to print out some rugs with the client's branding, what a cool thing we've seen when the client walks in and they're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. This kind of takes our backstage experience to the next level.
Right.
Or lighting back there. We try to always do lighting backstage to kind of take. So there's a lot of things. The client, there's two different buckets. There's stuff that the client doesn't see on the proposal that we deliver. And there's stuff that the client doesn't see on the proposal because I just feel like it's something we need to add either in the moment or before we get there, just to elevate the experience.
Yeah. I mean, I almost feel like site visits are almost fall into that category a little bit too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like I feel like we're one of the few companies that most of the time, like there's very certain circumstances where we do, but typically we don't like bill for site visits.
No.
And it's mostly just because we want to establish that rapport with our clients and make sure they feel supported and welcomed. But then also just because it sets us up for success.
100%. I said that.
Like,
yeah.
If you don't know what you're walking into,
there. Even if you're looking at a loading dock, like the value is there.
Yeah. Even if a site visit is literally like, if I'm spending 4 hours on a plane just to spend 30 minutes on the ground,
which we've done,
which I have done.
We have done.
Like that 30 minutes on the ground is invaluable.
100%.
And I'll easily spend 4 hours
it just
on the plane.
Adds so much confidence before you go back. Yeah. So again, that's not something you see on the proposal.
And I feel like that adds confidence to our client. Like
I would think so.
They're seeing value like, oh, they're invested in this so much.
Yeah.
They're not even going to charge us for this.
Right.
It's because we are committed.
And that's what I told them. It's if they ask me, like, are you going to charge? That's usually what my pushback is. No, to me, it's the cost of doing business. And I want to set other things up for success. So when we get to the show, like we're super confident and comfortable going into the program. So whatever it costs, it's absolutely worth that dollar amount.
And it's great for new clients
Yeah.
to be face to face, have that interaction, even if it is only for 30 minutes. Every minute counts when it's a new relationship.
So clients that are listening, event planners that are listening are loving this conversation. Production companies who have been charging are hating this conversation.
Exactly.
Now the event producers are like, wait, those guys don't charge for site visits. Why are you charging for a site visit?
Oh, maybe they're just not high quality. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's say, have you ever said no to a job because it doesn't align with your standards? Yes, I've actually said no to many jobs. Again, I'll give
I
an
love it when you
example.
say no.
Yeah, thanks. For me, it goes back to the Gucci, the quality of what we do and how we do it is so imperative to me on keeping that quality up that I'll say no if I have to bend on that. Obviously, there's always wiggle room for stuff. But I'll give an example. A client that I've known for a long time, event planner that I was trying to win her business, sent her a proposal. She compared it to the in-house company who none of us like. We all know who they are. And she was like, well, why do they have no stage manager in A2? Why do you have a stage manager in A2? Can we cut that out of the budget just to save some money? And I was like, no, I just won't produce the show, especially it was a big show. It was our first time event with that client. It was her whole C-suite was going to be there. And I just said, to get the Mosaic value brand, there's critical roles and personnel that we have on site because they're there for a reason. A stage manager A2, they're setting your C-suite up for success on stage. They're my point of view from front of house. They're managing your highest level people. They're managing your presenters that you pay high money to get in. You want those people as confident and comfortable as possible before they hit the deck.
Absolutely.
And she's like, well, they usually just go to front of house to get their mic. I'm not going to allow that to happen. So we went back and forth and she's like, okay, well, I'll give it this shot. I'll increase the budget for this event. She did it. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'll never do it again. Our C-suite loved you guys because of that. We'll hire you again because of that. Again, it was just, yeah. So, and we've also, I've said no to clients that want us to, that want us to share rooms.
Oh yeah.
We're grown.
I love
Hotel
say no.
rooms.
Hotel rooms, yeah, on-site hotel rooms. We're all grown adults. We worked 15-hour days. Some days it's wild. It's high stress. The last thing you want to do is go back to a room with some rando. We all know each other and love each other, but you still don't want to go back and sit next to another guy and share a toilet and share a shower after a 12-hour day. So I'll say no to stuff like that, but more often than not, I'll say no if it doesn't fit the Mosaic brand and way of doing things. And I'm sure that's scary for most, event producers like us or production companies because they're looking at the bottom line. But again, with that client that we did this Miami show with, obviously it paid off in dividends because they loved us. They loved the quality. They loved the quality control. So it paid off in dividends.
But I think we'll also say no when it's just not something that we do.
For
so
sure.
you'll lean into the client and tell them hey, this just isn't something that we do. I think you're better off with using in-house, which is great because then they'll come back.
Of course.
Yeah. And they appreciate you being honest and not just taking their money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. If it doesn't make sense for us if it's a Miami show and it doesn't make sense to fly crew out there from Phoenix and they already had a bid from somebody else that looked good. I've even had a client that reached out to me. It was a new client. He got my name from somebody. He's like, we heard you guys are great. I already had 2 other bids from 2 other production companies. What do you think about providing a third one? He didn't have the budget really to bring us in. It was into Ohio, a small town in Ohio. And I was like, instead of paying all the money for us to come out to Ohio, let me look over those 2 bids that you have. I didn't charge him anything for this. Let me look over the 2 bids you have, see if you were getting a good value for your money. And if you are, I'll tell you which one to go with. He sent me both. One of them was clearly out of a garage, it was a garage band guy. The other one was a legit production company. They both bid the exact same amount of money, which I knew I couldn't produce the event for. I told him who to go with, why to go with it, gave him a whole list. He ended up hiring those guys, and then he hired us for future events because he's like, man, the value added, you didn't care about the money, you just cared about servicing the client.
Yep.
100%.
So it always comes back to you. Even giving up an event, it always comes back to you tenfold. So don't be afraid to add value to the client, even if it means you're not making money this one time.
Yeah, just be a good human being to another human being.
So I don't say no willy-nilly, but I will say no if it makes sense for us or if it makes sense for the client.
Right.
Yeah, which is great. And I think there's a value added on both sides of that.
Absolutely.
We're about out of time, but let's do one more. How do we trust before we build? How do we build trust before we build the event?
I think we already talked about this before. Site visits play into that, but then also just levels of communication and then just making sure that they understand who we are, what we do,
Yep.
and they've seen what we've done.
Yeah.
Like I think that instills like a ton of trust.
Yeah. We usually start with a Zoom call. Use the time it's us three. We start with a Zoom call so we can see them. They can see us. We can kind of interact with them. A lot of them are word of mouth. So they already know our reputation. It's kind of built on the reputation. And then a site visit's always mission critical because it allows us to get on property with the client, build that rapport, usually have a meal with them, and just kind of build that camaraderie before we even get to a proposal phase. So I think that's huge. Thank you guys for joining. It's been awesome. This is a great episode. If you want more details about any of this, feel out to reach out anytime to the three of us. We'll see you soon. That's a wrap on this episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for following along. We'll see you soon.